Hello there, welcome to the channel. Today I am doing a big reveal. This is Solaran. He's a Irish yew. He's variegated. The variety name is David, and David is only ever male. He has no, he doesn't get berries. He gets little male flowers in the summer. And you can only get the David variety through cuttings. So today I'm taking off the wire very gently, and we'll just see how well the wire is held. Now I'm using very shiny wire, as you can clearly see, and that's so that it shows up on the camera, basically, so that it's nice and easy for you to see on the video. Now, this tree has been quite stressed. He did have some pests on him when that turned up over the winter while he was in the ground. I've been treating them mostly by picking them off, although I did use some diluted alcohol spray as well. I don't really like using bug sprays. I will if I have to, but I try to avoid it because my parents don't use pesticides in their garden. They try to encourage predators instead. So I try to use their ethics while I'm working on my trees, obviously. As I say, I will use bug sprays. I have used one on my Scots pine because it was covered in woolly aphids. And you know, I don't let a tree die, basically. I look at it, if I can handle it organically, I will. And if I have to if I have to use drastic measures, I will also do that. But this tree has been a little stressed, not so much due to pests, although they were a bit of a problem, but the drought that I mentioned before, we didn't really have a spring in North Yorkshire, or at least not in Moulton. The weather went from being normal winter weather, frosts, chilly days, to suddenly being quite hot and very dry. We didn't really have much rain, and when it did, you could actually see it drying on the ground as quickly as it was falling. So we really did have quite a hard summer with no spring. So there was no easing into it either. But the trees have managed very well. As I say, we've only lost two. We had some cuttings that didn't take, again, probably because it was so hot and dry, but on the whole, we've done pretty well. And this tree has done marvellously, as you can see. So here we go. Now this is the first wiring I've ever done. I've used clip and grow before, but I'd not wired up until this point, so the wiring isn't as good as it could be. I've been very honest. I used the wire that shows up very well. You will see in a moment when I turn it around that it could be better. But yes, I've done the best. I did the best that I could at the time. I know now I've had some more goes since, and I know what I did wrong. I can clearly see it. Yeah, there we go. So we've got crossing wires. We've got wires that aren't going around the trunk properly. And I've also, what I'm trying to show you here is that I've let the wire cut in a little too much on this branch here. Not so much that the branch died off, but it probably would have done if I'd left it much longer. I did have one branch die back, sadly. But on saying that, these do back bud very quickly and very well. So as long as next year's a better year for them, this tree should recover nicely and absolutely thrive. So what can I tell you about this tree? Well, he is a twin trunk. Due to the way Irish yews grow, they tend to have a lot of trunks and branches that come straight up from the bottom, and they grow straight. So all of these branches have had to be wired out and down, and I've put some movement in the trunk as well, especially that twin trunk. But I did also bend the top of these main trunk forward towards the viewer as well, as you can see there. So there we are. This is the front here. So we've got that secondary trunk snaking towards the back, and the top of the front, the main trunk coming out towards the viewer. And lots of movement in these branches as well. So all of that has been done by wire. I was surprised at how well this yew has really taken to the wiring. I was expecting to take it off and for the branches to just spring back up into the position that they want to be in naturally, and it hasn't done that. So I don't know whether that is to do with the stress that he's been under. He did have a few problems with bugs, but I think the main problem that he had was the drought that I keep talking about. We didn't really have a spring here in Moulton. We had a winter that was quite chilly and with lots of frosts and the sort of weather you'd expect in Yorkshire. And then spring didn't happen. We went straight into summer. So the poor plants were really quite shocked. But autumn has arrived right on cue, as it's supposed to, and normal. So hopefully we'll have a normal sort of winter for the area, and hopefully a good spring as well, and things will go back to the way they should be. I hope we don't have another year like this, because trying to work on trees that are stressed is extremely difficult. I haven't been able to feed them. I was just giving them seaweed all year. Seaweed, it doesn't push out growth. It encourages the roots. It doesn't encourage top growth. So the tree isn't putting out more growth than it can sustain. Instead, it's you're looking after the roots and encouraging a healthier plant, basically, which might be why the trees haven't suffered as much as you would expect them to have suffered. Now, Solaran is, he was grown in the area. He came from R.V. Rogers over in Pickering. So he probably had a bit of an advantage because he's used to this climate. I know North Yorkshire can be quite dry compared with other parts of the country, and certainly much drier than West Yorkshire. And it's also a little colder as well. We have the east winds off of the coast. So yeah, it's quite, I suppose, quite a harsh environment, really. But nevertheless, things grow. We had daisies growing in February, I think. I think that we saw the first flowers. So yeah, it's surprising. You know, it was certainly before it got warm. And I remember looking at them and thinking, my goodness, I don't remember seeing flowers growing like this so early down in Bristol, which is relatively warmer and certainly much wetter. So yes, I don't know why that is, but it's certainly very interesting. But yeah, Solaran had a distinct advantage over other trees that were not grown locally, and he has done marvellously. So here we are. I'm taking off the wire on the main trunk now. He really is a beautiful tree. Now, my only concern for this tree and the other yews as well is that while their tops are very hardy and they are widespread in Yorkshire, you see a lot of yew trees around Yorkshire, they don't cope very well with their roots getting cold. So they're all in pond pots, as you might recall. It's not just Solaran in a pond pot, they all are. So I think what we'll have to do is wrap them around, just wrap around the sides of the pot with some fleece or something just to keep them warm. And well, from there, I think we'll also probably, Solaran's living in the temporary greenhouse that I've got. He should be fine in there, but I will make sure that he doesn't get any cold. If the greenhouse is metal framed with metal shelves, so we'll have to make sure that the cold doesn't get into the bottom of the pot as well. And the others, I think, will probably stay in the wooden frame, and we'll just put some fleece around over the bird mesh, basically, so that not only do we keep the birds off them, but we also keep the cold off them as well, and hopefully they'll be fine. Let me know if you work with yews. Let me know what you do in the winter. It'd be quite interesting to compare notes. And yeah, so that's my plan for Solaran in the winter. In the spring, I'm going to get him back out, obviously, and he is variegated, but he's not as colourful as he should be, because he was in the shade quite a bit from the sun. And I think also the stress probably, variegated plants tend to lose their variegated colouring. If they get stressed, they tend to revert to the more normal colouring, just so that they can photosynthesize better. So that might also have been part of the reason why he's gone so green. He's usually, when I first got him, he was a beautiful colour. Sort of, you've got that green in the centre of the leaf, and then around the outside is a sort of a creamy, yellowy, golden edge. You can see it on a couple of the needles there. I'll just zoom in on a few. There you go. So this is what he looks like. This is what he should look like all over. You can see on some of the new growth that there is some of that colouring coming through here. Yeah. I don't have a favourite tree, but if I did, he'd probably be one of my favourites. I just think he's got the potential to be a really strikingly beautiful tree. And I can't wait to see what he looks like when he's matured a little more. I hope you've enjoyed meeting Solaran, the Irish Yew, and I will see you at the next one. Thank you very much.